good day. So we're working with just coming out here to you live. See what we're working on. We're gonna talk about it today. We just gonna talk about it. We going live today, and we gonna get into this thing real quick. Hope everybody's having a good day wherever you are. And I'm gonna talk about it. It's a real simple one, so you just say yes or no, and we gonna get into it. Get this live stream set up. Ain't gonna be no other way around it. So it's pretty self-explanatory today. Talk about it, be about it today. We're just gonna get into it. We want to know, will you come down with it? And if you don't agree with where I'm coming from, let me know. I don't care. I got a feeling it's about to get real ugly. Let me know where you be. Hello, how you doing? How you doing? Hello, how you doing today? Thank you for coming through. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. We are live. Please hit them likes up. Please take this poll. If you want to donate, feel free to donate as well. However you want to do it, let me know. I welcome all aboard. We about to get into it today. We are live today, and we're just here to see what people want to talk about. So I'm hitting all the wavelengths today. So okay, so I got it all there. I'm coming to you live. That's what I'm doing. I'm live right now. Janetta Rivera, just coming on here to have a conversation, and we are live. And if you got something you'd like to say, feel free to chime on in. Let me put some special effects. It's been a while since I've been in the land of the magical, the land of the tropical. Good to have you in the Riviera. Feel free to give me your commentary. Thank you for stopping by. I hope that you got something you'd like to say. And come on in here today. Let's get into it. We are live today. No, the wrong name, and I don't do that, so can't be doing that. I don't like it when people be trolling, especially when they're not. What's up? Let's holler at your boy. And I did drop some videos, and I got you in laughter. The next one is coming up is the Iris and Angel Reese. That'll be dropping after this video is done. It's all ready to go. I finished it. But oh buddy, I had fun with the DDG. I had fun with Aaron Rodgers. You'll see the videos I did. I had a ball. Yeah. So they gonna be ready to go. What's up with you? How you living? How you doing? They ready to go. It's hard to believe. Yeah. Seemed just like yesterday. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, what's Mike Tomlin doing? I mean, really renting him for what? What's up? Timing is everything. Glad to have you. Come on board. Yeah, I didn't even know that about Iverson's birthday being today. Everybody all just thinking about Prince. So, because June 7th, I didn't even know about Iverson. Okay. We talking practice. But anyway, I like that. Thanks for letting me know about him with Angel Reese. I did a video. I got it coming up. It's coming up. I done load on a couple folk with that. And a Michelle Beadle. Yeah. Yeah, Ted. I had to let that Michelle Beadle, Stephen A. Smith. You'll like that one. What's up, Charlene? How you doing? Feel free to commentate. Come on in. I'm dealing with some down weather today, so let's see what's up. Yeah, that's old news. Let me tell you a story. So that old Buffalo Bills buddy of mine, his pops, we were walking by TJ Maxx. This was some years ago. And he said, yeah, go take mess with Russell's ex old lady. And I was like, and when Russell got divorced from her, it was like a little blurb on ESPN the screen. Yeah, it was no Golden Tate loved and blonde. He when he went to Detroit, he pulled that Halliburton. He had that whole blonde fest. There was a picture of him that was on Instagram some years ago. Um, Russell was devastated for a moment, but that came and went. That's why the Sierra hookup was kind of interesting. Bought him some credibility because he a cornball brother, even though he really ain't that corny, but he's corny, but he ain't. It's hard to explain. He's not RG3 corny, but he can. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I lived in the area, so I know about Golden Tate. And that's one of the reasons why he got traded. And Golden Tate was always, generic brother. That's I forgot what that picture I saw on Instagram, but yeah, he was definitely in his element. Mm-hmm. And he went to I don't know all of them, but you know what? I'll say this: if you mix up sports and music and movies, you tend to get a lot of you know. It's kind of like an entree that all kind of blurs together. Cause depending on where you live and where you at, and that stuff just kind of happens to hit. Golden Tate was about a second, third tier receiver, second tier, but he got a little bit cocky though. He did. He always was doing stupid stuff. He fit in good in Seattle too, cause he was just as corny as and the cats liked him because but he was cornball. He a valley brother. That's why they sent him off to Saudi Arabia. That's when he went to the Jets, then he went to Detroit. Got back, like I told you before, they sent him far away. But he could play enough to play. But you notice he kind of faded though, because he just was, you know, but he was, again. But that's because Russell took her out there. I remember when he got drafted, and it was corny. That's why the cats didn't like him on the team. I told you it already. They didn't respect him. They're cornball. His commercials was corny. Even when he married Sierra, them Northwest Airlines, no commercials was horrible. That was the toughest thing for me. I'm glad no one ever asked me if I had to pick out of her and Stephen A. who I can't stand the most because it's like neck and neck. The only thing I would give Beetle, she was a diehard Spurs fan, and she obviously knew her stuff because she wouldn't have been there that long. But I can't stand her though. Oh, I'm sure old Marcellus was trying to mac on her. I'm sure he was. Because I remember when him and Max Kellerman had that show with her. And she got fired from, she been fired from everything. She didn't just always, she is one of them chicks that just smokes and talks trash. And, just to keep it 100, if she was a dude, they would have kept her around somebody's gig. But, so that's what happened. Duh. Duh. Just because he be using some Michael Eric Dyson words don't mean he think he deeper than he is. He got his game off of Whitlock. Come on now. He was a broke jock in terms of word usage. They got him because he was goofy and cornball. He saw Suge a few times. He tried to come up to Charles Barkley School and he tried to be articulate. He's just like Acho, but cornier. If you could be cornier than Acho, there you go. And Acho's a cornball of the kings of the corns. The only thing I like about Acho is he don't really have a name, so I can't really pinpoint where he was whacking in the NFL. But he somebody saw something in him, and you be wondering how these cats get these jobs. Oh, it's Whitlock. Cause Stephen A. You know, he won't. He kind of catches himself. Whitlock just a shock value at all times, but they both neck and neck though. Don't get it twisted. For me, it was just his honesty. They both were honest, but it was Pryor was so vulnerable. He could just hit you in the soul. That's what it was. Cosby's one of the five greatest comedians. Don't let these haters be telling you otherwise, because he was that great. But Richard Pryor had a way of just hitting you with words and saying things that you just felt. It's like he could read your mind. He felt your emotions, your tears. That's the only difference. Cosby was honest, but his honesty got him in trouble. And he had the wrong complexion. That's what got him in trouble. But Pryor be telling you a story, and he just make a face, and he just had a way of hitting you to an extent, but not the same. Chappelle is all over the place, and he ain't really got that fine line. He's not Pryor. He's not. For some people, it's like comparing LeBron to Jordan. It's not even close. Chappelle is not. He's not. He's entertaining this, but it's really them little spoof stuffs that he did that blew him up, really, and not because of him. Oh, he's a bad shuffler. Got a buddy in LA always tell me the story every time Chris Rock come out there. He's always looking for somebody to give him attention because he's so seeking. He's so desperate for attention, and he's just desperate. That's why he doing them old gambling commercial ads. If you notice, they got him wearing the tuxedo. You know, they don't like him. Think about it. Will Smith get to put hands on him on national TV, and no one will touch Chris Rock. Will came out and made 2, 3 films. Think about it. Oh yeah, that's how he's always been. You know, and yet he wants to be all. I mean, it took him like 50, 80 movies before he had a movie that made some money. Was the Longest Yard? And movies didn't do nothing because they don't respect him. That's why. And they know that he'd be shuffling. He a shuffleboarder. Talk all that trash about Michael Jackson. Talk all that trash about folks, and then he out there just. And we'll put the two-piece KFC on him. And I don't condone no black on black, but I can't stand Chris Rock though. I don't think he had funny no more. He had his moment. No, of course not. Especially when you go out of your way to keep your feet moving and you just really, and not only that, it's just that a man to a man, he just doesn't really like called humility or any kind of growth. You know, he just still, he just, ain't nothing really changed with him. So he was, and if you know about it, right? He was on Bill Maher's politically incorrect couch. That's what kept him afloat, because Bill Maher got him after CB4. Bill Maher had Kid from Kid and Play on it too. Cats be shuffling. They run over to Bill Maher to save him. Bill Maher was they TV daddy. So whatever. Chris Rock got a little couple bids there, but COVID-19, cause that changed the thing way more. It still affects to this day. And there are people that are still dealing with things to this day, and it's gonna be ongoing, and you got to live with it. I still got my mask, and you still got to deal with it. Sadly, the 911, it's more like almost seeing like a particular place or situation, and it impacts to the extent, but they let you back in Canada, certain places. They kinda, but the the cove, oh yeah, that's that will always have more for me. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. Lost people to it and whole kinds of things. So no, that's not even for discuss for me. But all you need to know is I still keep my mask and I keep my. I don't be going to just eat places to this day. They raised up all the prices. They manipulated things, and they used it, and it's still real. They hit in different ways, but to be honest with you, that's the one that. But think about all this stuff that's happened in the last 25 years. It's like a book of Revelation, so you see for yourself. I ain't got to say nothing. You see what's coming. You see how people be acting and how they treat people. The funnier one, the one that makes me cringe the most, I don't see color. That one is the worst because growing up around the folk and the music is just a all around general. But to sit around and say you don't see color, like you don't see, okay, what you Stevie Wonder, like you're a walking joke. Like I don't see it right. I do. Say you grew up around the folk and the music, and then y'all try to like make that buddy buddy tokenism, but you sit there and say you don't see it and say all lies, man, and all this stuff when you obviously know that with your two eyes that it's not the truth. How they do stuff. So that one hits me the most. The first one. Mm-hmm. Trying to think, what did I touch on last night? I touched on something. I did something. Can't think right now, but it'll come back to me. Yeah, don't come at me. I don't see. Because I ain't trying to hear that. I don't see. Reverse. Because there's no such thing as reverse. That's the most asinine, cross-sided thing someone could say. What's up? Thanks for coming through, Jay Will. Been a long time. Glad to have you on board. Uh, the reverse thing is embarrassing. You can reverse your car and it goes backwards. You can't flip a whole identity. That heck you sound. You sound like a crackhead. People will look you dead in your face and try to say, yeah, how? Where? So, well, they're not real basketball fans. And Adam Silver was right. The NFL can do it. Well, that's because people like Stephen A. Smith and these other heads won't always think that superstars can play on a one team. Problem is, you don't have anybody under 25, under 30 that people could team up. If you put SGA with Tatum Would anybody watch? If you put um, uh, 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 Jalen Brown with Joe, would anybody? I did a video about it. You need to check out my video. I said another name that surprisingly didn't make the list if you watch my video. That's the video I did last night that we talked. I put another name on that list. If you watch my video, the LeBron one was one of the surprises, but there was another name that was a surprise that he didn't mention. He's entitled to his opinion. Sure. Listen, he grew up watching a different era of Ghost. So he don't have to. Everybody don't have to select LeBron. I was surprised because of how they throw LeBron and the stats and all that. But he's entitled to his opinion. I mean, I can respect the man's opinion. But there were, besides LeBron, there were two other names that I thought he missed out on. Y'all didn't watch my videos because y'all watch my videos, you'd be like, yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Because one of those names was Patrick Mahomes, and the other name was Serena Williams. Oh, I checked out the list because he mentioned Shohei Tiny, who do got a ring. Yeah, Serena Williams is considered one of the GOATs of the last 25 years. Look her up. Tennis dominance. Come on now. If you mention Tiger Woods, you got to mention Serena Williams. If you mention Barry Bonds, you got to mention all that. That's all. Uh, why does everything have to be about race? Because people don't know their history. When you don't know your history, that's why you cling to that. And what's wrong with the second one? Only because everything is white, but it's the first one. Oh, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Because we live in a country that was built on it. That's why. Do your history. Think about why they don't teach you about black history. Then you wouldn't have to ask me why everything is. Because they omit more than just the 60s. They have you thinking that Dr. King, it's kind of like how they do with the NBA with Bird, Magic, and Jordan. It's like Dr. King, Rosa Parks, maybe Malcolm, and the Civil Rights Movement. That's it. That's what they do. They conveniently whitewash, erase, delete, however you want to call it, trim it down. You want to see about Brown versus Board education, you know. Oh yeah. In the last, yeah, she belongs in there with Floyd and Tiger and Barry. Nobody cares about John Jones. Sorry. It ain't the same. I know how good his record is, but it ain't quite the same. It don't hit like that. But I know what you mean. Oh, I know that. Of course he got it like that. That ugly face turkey be getting over. Getting his Nick Cannon on. He's like, Nick, you ain't getting this title. Who else got a chunk of them? I deal with the bars too. But who else was this? Nick? Some other cat got a bunch of them. It's cheaper to pay him off. You put no ring on none of them. You ain't got a tone for none. Sorry, Jay Will, but nobody talk about it unless you're deep, you know. Hey, when you got the bag, you don't, you know. Yeah, I seen him. I seen him, but I just, when we talk about the main sporting events, don't Ted Mike can help me out with this too. It doesn't get the same quite love like when we talk about Floyd Mayweather, Serena, Tiger Woods, Barry Bonds. You know, it's not quite the same. Just saying. Or Tom Brady for that matter. Yeah, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying. I can respect that you're bringing that up though in the particulars though. He still might. He still might. You never know. You never know. Still might. I don't know. I think there's a lot more going on. And when he mentions the whole notion about Epstein Island, it's you never know. You never know. And Diddy and all that. So you never know. That's not breaking news. The reality is there's nothing else out there for him. And Shaq was right. I thought they played tomorrow. It's a must win for OKC. I know that. You don't win this one, the series over. You ain't going back to the end and win over 2-3. You better win tonight. You lose. Giannis, yeah, that's what I thought because it's first. Now next week it goes into that format. Giannis, you'd have to break up a whole lot of your team. Yeah, we all interested, but what you gonna give up? And Dallas ain't got nothing to give up. I'm sorry, but broken bones, old men, and a cat that's on the way down, and Kyrie, that would be a good move. If you can't get a Udoka, you get a Jason Kidd. That would be good. They got to give up a lot to get him. Though they probably would have to trade Cat or something for Kidd. It had to be something. You ain't gonna get, not Josh Hart, not Udoka. No, not with Damian Lillard and Doc Rivers there. Heck no. Who's gonna go there with the same sanity? You got Doc Rivers as your coach and Dame Lillard playing. Ain't nobody gonna go there. He's stuck because you know because of the circumstances. Can't get no action there. I saw that, but you know what? Who cares? Cat's gone further than Gilbert Arenas ever did. Cat was in the Eastern Conference Finals this year, and was he in the Western Conference Final last year? Yes, he was. What Gilbert Arenas? How far he get? Who gonna have a greater career when it's all said and done? I ain't trying to hear no what Gilbert got to say. Because if his game was as half as good as his mouth, we may have him in a higher degree. We don't talk a lot of yang. He was good. He wasn't great. Talk a lot of roasted potatoes. You can pick on Cat's defense, but they did enough. He did help them. Without him, they don't beat Boston. So, and that's why they got it for. He actually did his job. Excuse me. He actually did his job. He got him to beat the Celtics. That's what it was. I never cared for it. I saw the thing about Shaq and Gordon Dragic, and I never cared for it. Especially, that thing may have flew in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't imagine now. They ain't gonna win no double dip. They better beat the Jets. That's a give me. I don't want to see that mess. That's horrific football. He don't get hope he don't mysteriously fall over by a Gatorade. He gets sacked by a score drinking or something. It's embarrassing. I don't really care. I hope the Jets beat them. I laughed the Jets beat them. Beat them with a field goal. Crack me up. Um, he should retire. It's really a waste of haze though. It really is. And what you win? When? How long ago? Not last year. And not no 5-win team, no 4 or 5 win team. What you talking about? Aaron Rodgers has not been in no Josh Allen territory in years. Yeah, well, how many wins did the team get? How many pick sixes did he give up? Please. He ain't gonna have no Brett Favre Viking season. He's gonna stink it up. You know good and well like I do, they got third place written all over them in that division. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrows ain't gonna come along and let some old man stand ground over them. Please. if he could make the whole year. It's embarrassing everything he got the gig. That's embarrassing. He wish he did have similar stats to Josh Allen. Computers, because it that changed the whole landscape. That's enabled the cell phone. Changed the whole landscape. Stat wise, not career, not what that's not the biggest tier to what? Bottom end. Bottom end. Well, computers changed the game. I'm going to 17 Warriors. Come on now. That's too much offense. They would have beaten that Celtics team. That Celtics team struggled with the Lakers until Paul Pierce had that wheelchair and came back. Yeah, I've been too tough against that Golden State team. I take that Golden State team. He is tripping because Breeze and Aaron Rodgers did not end their careers well. And for all the dominance they had in their respective divisions, they didn't dominate. Aaron Rodgers didn't dominate like he should have, and Drew Brees didn't dominate like he should. So I don't have them like that. They on the bottom end of tiers. They in the bottom end for they can be first tier guys, but they're the lower case. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Grandparents had that. Especially if you had one of them big old love boat ones, like a big old ship in your living room. Oh yeah, you were considered gangster. Color TV and a remote control and a lazy boy, and you could sit there and have a big old boat sitting on the side. Oh yeah, you was gangster. You were gangster. That's a whole different era, different take. But yeah, you're right. Now I don't put Breeze and Rogers. They're on the bottom end. They won Super Bowl win each. Because of the MVPs and stuff, they might bought up that bottom end of the 10, but their skill set and numbers, but their overall what they did, no, no. Because to be honest with you, Kurt Warner didn't have about as much impact as both of them, if you want the honest truth. Had he won that Super Bowl with Arizona, we'd be having a discussion about Rodgers and Breeze ahead of Kurt Warner. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. That's all he got. That's all he got. And this stuff is coming out left and right, and it's going. I'm telling you, it's gonna hit the mother. I'm telling you, that's why he want to get Diddy. See, everybody he know. Uh, for me personally, I gotta take Peyton Manning out because Elway won the last two, and he was more convincing, and he actually led the team. And Peyton Manning's kind of like James Harden. If his postseason was like his regular season, he'd be go 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 go. But his postseason is. I got Mahomes. I got Brady Mahomes, Montana, Elway. Then I probably put Peyton. That's what I would say. I give Elway the steal the nod. But if all things were just geared to one part of the season, it would have been Manning. He was crazy, but it just. I think his underrated skill was pretty much his ability to. I think the way he connected with his teammates. I think the respect. They really went to play with him. He really had a respect. Well, that's kind of a tough question. Thank you, Ted. Please do. Um, Drums. It's all about the music. Mother Africa. It's always about a beat. We do everything off of a beat. Before we get to the piano, before we get to the guitar, before we get to the keyboards, it's all about the drum beat. It's the rhythm. It's the heartbeat. Okay, yeah, Hit that like button up. Hit that poll question. I appreciate people taking the poll. We definitely get some strong ones. 50%, 57% saying yes. So that's pretty high. That's a good top five, Jay. Well, I'm not gonna argue with you. Except I probably, I still think Mahomes got a chance to win another ring or two. And I got him over Man and Elway put together. So, oh yeah, yeah, I seen that. I've seen that. Oh, I've talked about it too. Hmm. Well, they ain't got their real wake up call yet, cause until more things come with more the icy ice ice. He was decent. He was decent. He was decent. Iverson never had nobody that could score though, so Stackhouse and him didn't work. And Stackhouse was a one trick pony, and he was trying to be alpha. He never had the right combo. For me, it's the water. 6 to 10 ain't hard for me. Not hard for me at all. Because if I was running my top 10, Roger Staubach's in there, Peyton Manning's in there. Aaron Rodgers probably may be in there. What you mean when you said who? Oh yeah, I like it. Of course, they messed with Lisa though on the channel though, cause she said something and they messed with her though. I think she just had enough of it, so she just like, Roger Staubach, Dallas Cowboys, look him up. Still the greatest Dallas Cowboy quarterback ever. Look him up. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Ryde Staubach was the clutch dude. He was Montana before Montana, Brady before Brady. He made that star on that helmet shine. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks ever. Yeah, I give Ryde Staubach his dude. He's the only quarter. He's my favorite Dallas Cowboy quarterback ever. So there you go. And I mentioned Peyton Manning. Yep. He talks too good to be true. He takes losses and he acts like he gonna do something about him. He's always got the same press conference. Yes, we're gonna be very astute. He talks a good game. They do worship the sun when they out there trying to sunbathe and tan, but I'm taking the water. Uh, Johnny Unitas got to be in the top 10. Gotta put him in the top 10. That guy was bad. See, this is tricky because him and Marino, yeah, easily. But I might forget he's in my top 10. He should have been. Won't get it though. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers kind of cancel each other out. But if I had to pick out the two, I guess I would give it to Brett Favre. But it's close. I want Moon to be in mine. Yeah, he do. That's horrible. Anything that's $100 bill on up is always attractive because that's the money that you don't usually see. Well, the first time I had my hands on some Canadian money, it was $100 bill. This woman let me smell $100 bill. It was so fresh and divine. It had a mirror on it too. It was crazy. He should be probably Canadian one, the Canadian movie. Um, he, yeah, he tries to be lying through his teeth. Let's see. Okay, let me do it. Mahomes. Let me do this. Mahomes, Brady, Montana, Elway, Marino. Yes, I got Marino. Yeah, yeah, Canadian dollar. Yeah. And then you got Peyton Manning have, I guess you could say Ryder Starbuck, and then you could probably put Brett Favre. Hmm. Bart Starr got to be in there. Warren Moon be up in there. The U.S. dollar doesn't look that appealing to me though. Canadian dollars look good to me. I like the colorization and the, trying to think who else would I pick on. Who am I missing at quarterback? Hope he can make it. He played for Cleveland. Good luck. Good luck. So I gotta say good luck. He might. But that's nothing to get excited about. I mean, Cleveland sucks. He should be able to start. Okay. I hope Shador does well, but he going to Cleveland as no one says a gold mine in Cleveland. You got Miles Copeland. What's a gold mine when your team is projected to win 5 games if you're lucky? Yeah, I remember that mess. And and you see where Skip Bayless is right now too. I remember because he put that face on and he got into his feelings. He really actually played ball that series. He played out. He played out. The only reason why they won that game was because the Celtics couldn't score. They had become such a defensive minded juggernaut. They didn't play no offense. So if you could put points up, and it was a must for his, and Dwayne Wade got at it. D Wade was his best motivator because D Wade got him. Yeah, how did Johnny Manziel turn out? Mm, money, 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 money. Faded out before you had a chance to shine. Well, that's a take to your opinion. I'm not gonna say no lie like that, but you're entitled to say what you want. It's the cell phones in the blowout. It's not even close because everybody got a cell phone. Cell phone is like having a Thriller album. And when you can do something like that, computers, laptops, all that, TV, all that, but the cell phone, talking about, yeah, and yeah, I remember. Cell phones changed the landscape. I tell you, cell phone is like have owning the Thriller album. I, when you see something that everybody got, that's all you need to remember. The other stuff is debatable, and you really ain't gonna do a lot of detective work on it because vinyl, eh, but a cell phone, I remember they used to be like a brick. You could literally break a window with them, and that meant like you was somebody. You be pulling them out like you had a CB. You're like, yeah, we're over here, and it was like all big, like an antenna. Like you took your mama's bobby pin and put it up on there, and I got kind of radioactive. First time I had a cell phone, I couldn't operate that thing to save me, pushing buttons. It's all part of a cell phone because everybody's a camera person now too. So again, cell phone win. Everybody be taking pictures. Everybody be painting pictures. Everybody manipulate pictures. Cell phone gonna win. Taping you, filming you, cell phone. Still ain't said nothing right, but I'm sorry. Good try though. I did a video that's coming out. Future. It's Time Landry. Don't insult the Cowboys like that. Ain't no true Cowboy fan. It's not no interesting debate. If Jimmy Johnson had a three-peat, it took the Bears with a ring, maybe. But Tom Landry had 20 plus years, built that team, built both sides of that team, and won. And we don't even talk about the three straight NFC Championship games with Danny White as quarterback, who was a punter part-time, main punter. Landry changed the course. It's not for discussion. How did Jimmy Johnson do in Miami? Game over. Oh, you tripping. You drunk Kool-Aid. You drunk Kool-Aid. Sugar water. We drunk Kool-Aid. How would he destroy? Emmitt Smith and Tony Dorsett are comparable. Michael Irvin against Drew Pearson. Yeah, I give you that. Defensively, Doomsday defense matches up. You win two Super Bowls. Landry won two. What's your point? Went to five. What's your point? Roger Staubach will tear up Troy Aikman. What's your point? You know, I'll give you that you'll never get to make those picks again because Herschel Walker was like a whole roots into himself. Yeah, you won't get to do that again. But they did that Dallas Cowboy team in the '70s was pretty feisty. They won. They went to five Super Bowls. Dallas went to three in the '90s. There's a difference. And had to get Deion Sanders to get them to over the hump. Think about it. Who did the Cowboys pick up in the '70s from Pittsburgh? Who did they pick up from? And think about Dallas's. Miami had a perfect team. You had, Dallas, Miami, Pittsburgh. That don't mean nothing because he had Steve Walsh as quarterback, and he still went with that's good. I like Coco Graham. He still went with Troy Aikman out of UCLA, so that don't mean nothing. He got rid of Walsh and brought in Aikman. He understood fit better. Michael Irvin, I give you some of the cats, but he still went with. Well, he might pass the torch though, but she got a long way to go before she be in Serena's class. But she's good though. She's on her way, but let's pump them brakes though. Let's not get carried away. I like Coco, but Serena's still a standard though. There's a big difference. Man, you can know the cosplay, but once you get into the pros, it's a different animal because everybody's got an agent, everyone's got the bag. As far as what? You gotta be kidding me. Troy Aikman in a blowout. White led him to three NFC championship games, but he ain't never. He didn't have to because Steph Curry passed him by. What's your point? There is nobody here that's playing today that because it's kind of like a free for all. First of all, none of these turkeys today want to be elder statesmen for one thing, and two, they still got the Lulu that they're gonna win, which they're not. I said it last summer when they went to the Olympics in France, and I'm gonna say it again this year. They timed and come and pass. That's what Adam Silver keeps trying to tell you. LeBron, Steph, Durant, Harden, Kawhi, your days are done. What about Wimby? Ain't nobody gonna take Danny White in a case with no Troy Aikman. Troy was a better fit. If Danny White had won one of them Super Bowls where he led them three straight NFC Championship games, I might give you a nod because he was very thrifty for what he did. But I couldn't stand that milk toasty cat. He almost lost his job to Gary Holcomb. That's a whole nother story though. Oh, all right. Well, he gonna join everybody. to stay healthy and he's got to learn the game a lot quicker. He got to pick up his game. Joining the fort because that's what Chris Paul was. So the oldies but goodies. I never heard nothing about Jalen to the Heat, but that would be a good move though. That's the only way that he could be a threat. But I wouldn't give it no draft picks for him though. I'll tell you that. He'd be injured and you got to make sure everything is right. They still got to have the right pieces, so that's one part. But I don't think Boston gonna unload him. Wimby has a lot of work to do in San Antonio. I don't care about no CP3. He need to have retired like 4 years ago after he lost that finals. They should have gone ahead and called it a day. He's just taking money now. It's pathetic and embarrassing. He'll play for everybody. Please. CP3 need to go retire. Wimby can, if he stays healthy, gets better, picks his game up. But he's got all those factors he's got to do. He's doing it the right way, though. He has to figure out how to assert himself and use himself in the right, more effective way. Um, hmm. I'm going to say the 2013 Heat, but it's close. But because the Spurs went 6 games against the Nets, I think the Heat could have gotten him. Oh, I'd say out of those two, the birth control, you can't trust no rubbers. 92 Blue Jays because they had to go against a tougher Atlanta pitching staff. But it's pretty close, though. I had to think there for a moment because how they beat Atlanta, but Atlanta was far better than anything the Yankees had off pitching. So 92 Blue Jays for me. Yeah, I think I go up to 92 Blue Jays. I like them in 6. Yep. And Jack Morris was clutch back then too, because from the Detroit days he was clutch. And so I think they had Dave Steve. They had the right arms and the right balance to win that chip. So, but I think it, 6 games. Jack Morris was very instrumental. All right, keep on hitting this poll question. Hit these likes. Yeah, I like Robbie Alomar. happen if Jerry Sloan had got to play? Yeah, I can make a case for that starting five. I can make a case for it. It wouldn't work, but I can make a case for it though. Steve Rose was sick. It's just a shame that his career was derailed because old Thibodeau, the stupidness of that game back in 2011. Tell the person you were debating that I said. And I meant all the teeth. All the teeth. The only thing I know Carlos Boozer for, in all honesty, is that he rented a house out to Prince, 3121, where Prince had that album out in '06 was debuting up on the Billboard. That's the only thing he known for. I kid you not. In Utah, they tried to say that him and whatchamacallit were going to be like the new Stockton and Malone. And then when he went to Chicago, then he went to LA, then he's with Cleveland. You know where I'm going with this. I'm going to say this about Joakim Noah. If he had half an offensive game, he could have been like a Charles Barkley type. Because he had good handles and he could move and he was strong, but he had no offensive game. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, take your time, Charlie. Oh, that's a good one. Got to be young and say Noah because Noah had an offensive game. Gilmore was the beast for scoring. I got to go with the J.R. Ryder for that West Coast, that Bay. That Bay still be moving me. Youngster. Well, I didn't even. I heard something about Boozer, but if Jimmy Butler was playoff Jimmy and he played halfway in the season, that wouldn't be so far fetched as a sidekick. But the problem is he never got to play with a great player to make a run during their peak and prime. That's why. Because if Butler could have done it with Steph and he could have done it where he was a sidekick to somebody great, then we might make that a debate. That would be debatable if, but that ain't never gonna happen. Well, he don't know nothing. That shows. When he wasn't bopping his head all the time, he had that hops, but he clowned a lot. He playing with the Clippers and he clowned. So there's Miles. I ain't heard that name in a minute. No, but whoever you dealing with, let's see that boozer mess. The boozer Noah hilarious. Jimmy Butler, not that he was gonna ever be as good as Scottie Pippen because he's a tiers below. But I say this, he had some moments where you out of them three. But there's nothing about Boozer that made you forget Robin, and Noah wasn't gonna make you forget Artist Gilmore. But Butler would have been interesting. But Jordan would have been fighting that team. Yeah, called him out all kinds of names. So anyway, okay, let's hit some more questions up because I'm waiting. Hit that like up, hit that poll up. Come on now. If you're out there, feel free. Thank you for the donation. Always appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. J. Wheel. You definitely need that. Thank you. Appreciate you. Shout out to you. Thank you. Camps out. Anybody wants it, feel free. Feel free. Feel free. He said something about he didn't want to go sign with somebody like with LeBron or something like that. And of course he wouldn't. He came up in a different era. Cats cringed at a lot of the stuff they see. Yeah, I mean, he had a spite and feeling with him. He came up differently because he didn't have anything handed to him. Remember, he had that part-time job at Circuit City when he was in Chicago. I remember he worked there part-time in the summer or something. He came up on a different way. He was kind of like a throwback too. He wasn't playing. Yeah, but he still played against him with Houston. He wasn't intimidating. He wasn't kissing no rings. He came up as a factor, but he was respectful. He didn't ask those. See, that's the thing. That's what I'm getting at. He didn't want to just pal around and buddy buddy. That's all that was. Cats today they after tied all the they when they went through the whole thing with Braun and them. But I understand what he was getting at. Jermaine O'Neal, because he's an MVP candidate. Meta was a better defender. His offensive game took a while to come in, and he was like a guy that was going to score. But Jermaine O'Neal had a higher up level, I think. I thought the ceiling was going to be there more of the two. It's a good question as former teammates and who I thought. I thought it was going to be Jermaine O'Neal. It's a good question. So I have to say Jermaine O'Neal. I remember them both at their peaks and their peaks. I do like Meta, but Jermaine O'Neal had the better opportunity to blow up of the two. Okay. Let's see what we got. Feel free to comment. Come on back. That's what we're working with. We got another vote in. Thank you, thank you. 50-50. Okay, 50-50. That's cool. All right, just sitting here waiting. Hopefully somebody come along, got some conversation. I know everybody went. everybody went. So give you a call. You know, could gonna show up. They'll be maybe another 10 minutes. We'll see. Everybody went. Okay. Glad to have more people come through. And thank you for coming. It's gotten quiet again, so we'll probably I'll give these cats another 10 minutes, 5, 10 minutes. Just kind of waiting. Let's just see what's going on. If nobody don't come through, I'll call it another 10 minutes. That's a bit much. That's subjective, Charlene. I mean, it really is. I think Moses with the parting of the seas is kind of speaks for itself. Muhammad's part of the last prophet, and it's pretty huge. But I think Moses being the last prophet speaks for itself. But it's close. Depends on who you ask. See what we got. I'm going to say Moses, but it's close though. But they both impactful, but in different ways though. I hope that helps. You really come with some distinctive questions today, though. Got some real distinctive ones. Yeah. Good question, though. Good question. Understandable when you ask questions like this, that can be kind of subjective to interpretation. So they both have their ways. I really don't like to put that in that connotation, but if I had to say it of the two, Catholic one only because they come with a more righteousness that they promote. Jehovah is following what you believe in. This is one. CC is that they got more because of their doctrine. So that's the problem. At least with the J Dubs, you know what you're dealing with. You may not agree with it, but you know what you're dealing with. That's the difference. They tell you off the bat what they don't do, what they about, what they about. So that's all. But it's politics wherever you go. Hope that answers that. I think I think David and Goliath because it really is kind of like wow. And what's happening, OG? What's happening? What's happening, Tom? What's happening? Good to see you. So I have to say David and Goliath. That one kind of jars me the most, if I'm honest. You're getting pretty deep and spiritual today, Charlene. Look at you. Far cry from some other things, and I always enjoy the topics, but this is interesting. Interesting. The poll question is going good, so we got a lot of healthy responses on that, so that's all good. Yep. What's up? What's up? Hopefully we get some good combos back. Everybody's back on, so let's get into it. Charlene got deep on this in here too. Oh, Bolden. Aside from his Cincinnati era, I really didn't really care for him. I always thought he was a double Junior Walker broke version of T.O. He was good for a moment, but the antics and the theatrics took over. Anquan was built different. So I gotta go with Anquan. That's a good one. That might be your best one yet. Um, I think Heinz Ward had more natural skill, but Julian Edelman was more overall. He did so much for New England that he was an upgrade over Wes Walker. And And I think I got to give it to Elderman. And that's crazy to say because I thought Hines Ward was bad. But let me put it to you like this. If Antonio Brown had came to Pittsburgh and did what he was supposed to do, you'd have forgotten about Hines Ward and Plexico put together. Elderman, though, was so big for New England that you couldn't forget what he did. So that's why. But it's not based on, if I'm going on, on talent, like if I'm going by skill, I'm going with Hines. But Julie Elderman came up so big for New England. He came up big. That's a tough one, too. That's the best one yet that you asked today. Because that one was tough. I had to really think about him. Flex had his moments. He did with the Giants. I mean, it just didn't work out in Pittsburgh like it should have. And he didn't get all of it out of him. He's another cat. He didn't get all of that out of him. Had he got all that out of him, we may have been seeing a surefire Hall of Famer. We'll never know. Talented, but he just didn't finish up what he started. Made the best Super Bowl prediction, though. I'll give him that, though. But I don't know. Santonio Holmes was clutch. It depends on how what I'm looking at. Julian Edelman was clutch. Hines was clutch. There's difference. Tyreek Hill once upon a time was clutch. For me, Reggie. Donald was bad. Don't get it twisted. He came up big, but Reggie White. I mean, Philadelphia era, Green Bay era. I mean, he just was. He was on another level. And Aaron Donald had a great run, but Reggie White was beasting for me. So I gotta say Reggie White. I'm on for another 40 minutes. So as long as cats keep talking, I'll be on for at least 40 more minutes. So that's the key. But if I'm not on, it's because people stop talking. Other than that, as long as people are talking, so if you get back, we think you'll be back in the next half hour or 40 minutes, I'll still be on. You talking about Rod Woodson? I probably would give it to Rod Woodson. Reggie White was just, he got physical with you. He just did what he's supposed to. I'm gonna take Reggie, but I'm gonna take Rod Woodson over Reeves. All right, catch you later, Charlene. Thanks for coming through. I might be on tomorrow, so be on the lookout. Uh, I'm not gonna be popular with my picks, but I'm taking Tony Dorsett, please. Dorsett was the smoothest running back I saw running down the sidelines. I like Franco a lot, and I think Franco has been definitely undervalued and appreciated. But Tony Dorsett, come on, that dude was smooth. Only smoothest running back I've seen. If I had to pick my five smoothest backs, O.J. Simpson, Tony Dorsett, Marcus Allen, Eric Dickerson, and Adrian Peterson. Those are my smoothest backs. And Barry Sanders would get a nod for six. Dorsett was a smooth. He was smooth. That's a pretty good one. The old school me wants to say Charlie doing the bad. I like Reggie Wayne. I don't know if he quite got everything. I don't know. I give a slight nod to Charlie Joyner. Slight. Now this one is tough because one of them it should be obvious, but the other guy moved me more. Troy Polamalu actually moved me more. I like Ed Reed. He was great, but Troy, the way he could frustrate you on that, and the way he hit that, just he just never knew what he was gonna do. Yeah, he was underrated. Franco was. He just was a beefy back, and he came in a town when that's one. Okay, that's a hot take. That's a hot take. I think he was cocky. He still is. He ain't really changed. The Jerry curl's gone and the glasses are, but I'm taking Troy. Troy was disruptive. I like Avery's mental capacity, but I like the way Troy Polamalu covered the ground. Sometimes cats ain't for everybody. Dickerson probably turned a lot of people off. He was pretty cocky. I'm taking Jim Kelly too. Because if Jim Kelly had access that Drew Brees had, he'd have a couple rings. He did get the four Super Bowls. That's what Drew Brees should have had with all that access he had in that soft division. And he just stat pad. And he didn't do nothing with the Chargers. I'm taking Jim Kelly too. That's why when I get to my Breeze and them guys, I'm like, come on now. Ray Lewis, because he was the real leader. He really came up big. I like Singletary a lot. He was mental. But something about Troy Polamalu dancing on the line, swinging that hair, and his aggressiveness and his attitude, he carried that defense. And he didn't have no Ray Lewis, and he didn't have no Shrugs and those guys. He really did carry that defense. He was a different type. His timing was everything, his technique. I got to give it to Ray. I like Singletary a lot. He was scary. He never closed his eyes when he hit you. But Ray was definitely put you in a certain mode, though. Ray covered a lot of ground. For me, as the Buffalo Bills fan, I'm taking Andre Reed. And that's not just a bias. I think he's been one of the most underappreciated receivers. That slot formation, he didn't get his due. Fitzgerald bad though, but Andre Reed was bringing it. Andre Reed was bringing it. He could, but I still got to give Andre Reed the slants were just got to go with Andre. It's a toughie. I got to say Randall Cunningham, and I'm gonna tell you one main reason. He got everything out of his system that Vic didn't. Vic was a better natural talent, but Cunningham got everything out. That's the difference. If Michael Vick got the half of what Randall Cunningham got out of him, Michael Vick would be in the top 2 to 3 greatest quarterbacks ever. So when you mention people, when I make a pick, it's not controversial. It's because of totality. If Vic had been an MVP like Randall Cunningham or been in led a team like Minnesota to that, we'd be talking about on a whole different level. I just take Cunningham because Cunningham got it out of his system. We never got the Michael Vick full experience. David Craig in a blowout. Jeff George had more natural talent, but Craig got more out of what he had. Craig was middle of the road, but I'll take his middle of the road over Jeff George's best day. I can't. I told you before. Cast to squander what they got. It's just a squander. Jerome Bettis, more accomplished. The Ram era, the Pittsburgh era could have been Hall of Fame. He was big time. Marshawn was great in Seattle, but it was like he was compartmentalized. He was a guy who came up big in certain sectors, but Jerome Bettis was big. Bettis was more of what I call, that I think that he belongs in the conversation amongst the group, the best backs. Whereas Marshawn, second tierish. But I like Marshawn a lot. But Marshawn is kind of like that Jimmy Butler type, and it fits when it comes to moments, but not where it hits all the way through. So I have to give it to Bettis. Good punishing backs. And don't get it twisted. Marshawn came up big for Seattle, especially in the postseason, but Jerome Bettis all the way through both sides. I got to give it to him as far as what he did regular and postseason. I got to do it. Marvin Harrison. Carter caught a lot of touchdowns, but Marvin is one of the most underrated receivers. And he came up big. And those passes from him and Peyton Manning, his son is looking good too. Some people just don't like Jerome Bettis, but he was better than Marshawn Lynch. I like Marshawn a lot too, so don't act like, because matter of fact, that whole, I'm not gonna say nothing so I don't get fined. I quote Marshawn a lot. I like Marshawn a lot. I, I, I'd be more quick to kick it with Marshawn, but Jerome Bettis was the better running back of the two. Don't get it twisted. Because Marshawn, until he hit in Seattle, was marginal. Well, he's a politician, and he had a case too, in case you don't remember. I forgot what it was. Jerome had something that was going on. Yeah, that's why he was up there shuffling, because that's what it was. I forgot what it was until you mentioned Mitt Romney. There was something, not quite. He does do the TV commercials, and he had the commercials, but not quite as bad as RG3. RG3 went off the rails. RG3 went off the rails. I don't look at that as, there are different levels of shuffling. He ain't shuffled as bad as RG3. RG3 shuffling. Look, I'm gonna tell you like this. I don't have to agree with your shuffling, and I don't have to agree with your politics or who you, all this and that other stuff. But I go by on the field, and I go by what you do as far as your work. And as a player, he was better than Marshawn Lynch. I ain't gotta like him as a person, but as a football quarterback, come on now. Like Thomas Hitman Hearns is my was my favorite middleweight fighter, but his politics, yeah. Lawrence Taylor is my cousin and the greatest defensive player ever, and one of the greatest players ever. But his politics, yeah. So, oh yeah, well, OJ is one of my top two or three greatest backs ever. I didn't care for all that book shuffle, you know, that he did, shuffleboard and he did. But as a out, I learned to separate a long time ago. I tell people all the time, I don't care if it's acting, music, movies, what have you. You learn to separate the two because you don't really know who the people really are. There's a lot of politics. People be masking. And then when you find out how they really are, you like, oh, you don't know them. Yeah, he's still a great back. He should have gone for 2,000 yards. He should have tried to break the record. You know, I told you I got to separate the two. I like the way he run. And the Giants was stupid to let him go. Lord knows how that turned out. But that other stuff with him, no. That's why I don't. But again, you gotta understand something. All these industries is tied together. All these cats, that's all they do. So you can't get too excited because then you get your feelings hurt. Most of them are mainstream. You don't think who? You don't think Shaquan? He did get out there. That's why Jalen. That's why Jalen Hurt wasn't there. He wasn't nothing to parts of it. No, when cats stand on code, they stand on code. They don't just all of a sudden flip. Shake on flip. I'm sorry. You can't sit there and tell me that you aren't. And when you know what Trump's about, you just can't. Just like the Dodgers, I cringed at them going to the White House after what he did to Jackie Robinson. You just too much hits close to home. So I can respect your talent. I can say you're great, but I can't. But me personally, so this is right here. You separate the two. You got mad at Jerome Bettis from Mitt Romney, but Jerome Bettis had that case. I forgot what happened. He had some mess with him. He almost got me too. Great player though, but I don't particularly. But most of them are like that though. That's not a surprise when you understand how this industry works. A lot of them cats is you do know lawyers run the industries. So these cats don't. You don't really know them. You ain't gonna get that though. You're not gonna get that. Too much money, too much access to bunny fever, and too much um, sugar candy. And I ain't lying. I ain't lying. I ain't lying. You may think I'm lying. I ain't fronting. That's why these cats get turned out. And you got a lot of them in the NFL, Major League Baseball, and basketball that's no different than Kanye West. What you think Bunny Fever is? Hopping like a rabbit. You know what I'm talking about. Cats ain't never been exposed to nothing. Get access to the bunnies and honeys and sugar candy. And all you can eat and have. And it's a diddy party all the time. Just don't get caught. But you really won't if they like you. Well, I got jokes, yo. I be talking in code. You watch my video, you know I talk in code. You know how I gotta do it out here on these streets. You know how it is. I'm trying to tell you. You'd be very surprised. And these cats follow a line. Tell you. Hop, they hop, they hippity hip hop, 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 hop. And hop, hop. They be walking around playing Simon Says. You'd be surprised. That's all for show. She trying to make Offset jealous. And she went and go found a 304, two 304s together. That's a bad area code. They both they both trying to be on the cover. Mm-hmm. And he already got set up. And he also got called out for being part time starburst. I'm sure you heard about part-time starburst with him. Ain't nobody said that. That's why he all run up with that. That's what's up. There's some money on this one. Mr. Diggs. Who be Diggs? Diggs. Diggs. Story got out. And she's out with her mess too. Yeah, well that's what was put out there. That's why when you see two people that have been aired out like that and then they link up, that just got all the markings of PR all the way. It's not the football player and the hip hop star who's never put out another album, a full record since when? And a football player that's always getting let go because he didn't went from staying consistent to just going cray cray. His brother played for the Cowboys, and nobody even cares about that because they suck and that poor thing, and now he's just all over the place. And if he wasn't so erratic, the Cowboys would have took him in. She just trying to make Offset, trying to make him jealous. She ain't gonna. She just a tease. She had a chance to do something musically when she worked with Bruno, and that ship came and went because that was actually a good look for her. She actually was cleaned up for a moment. But she just rather sit there on these social media streets and cry and moan. When she was Cardi B with Joey B, how you figure? The guy just got the MVP this past year, and he was in the running for MVP. How you figure? He helped him out. I'll give you this. The first couple of years, but when he pouted, dropped that ball against Kansas City, he didn't. First couple of years, I'll give you a case. You can make a case to an extent, but you got nothing that was like Diggs with the Bills last year, and they still got the AFC Championship game without him. So what? So let's talk. Yeah, well, Windhorse was kind of like that's how Windhorse got the job. Duh, LeBron. How you think Windhorse got the job? He followed you when you were in high school. Duh. That's how he got the job. He was like a stalker shepherd. LeBron was trying to turn him because Windhorse called him old. He ain't gonna have no smoke for nobody that's a social media mover because they know his roundabouts. Don't let Windhorse ever get skinny and get fit. Then he gonna be done. He'll be out of a job. Then LeBron be out of a job. But Windhorse ever got fit and skinny. Windhorse ever get a six pack, rocking a straight suit, and grease his hair up, he's done. That whole Windhorse should be keeping them hot dogs and footlong hot dogs and hang out with Joey Kobayashi and be at the Joe at the JJ. Well, this is the thing. He is. Just because you can put up some stats doesn't mean that you're not old. What's your what good? All these people about the best 37, 38, 39, 40 year old. That's nice. But what's your team doing? 24, 9, 8, and all this stuff, and you ain't winning. He should be very careful because Wendy's gone to some parties, and Wendy gets paid to do what the dollar leaves behind on the sidewalk. That's part of his assignment. That's why he gets to fly to France for he knows, and Adam Silver knows too. I told you they hire these lawyers to run these commissioners, and what do you think the commissioning is? It's a fancy word for basically being a lawyer, and they quickly pick her up what you don't want. Oh, of course he do. They'll never hire no brother to go do this. Scoop Jackson ain't gonna get to be running behind LeBron like that. You ever notice they always had that too? What people don't talk about was Jack Haley used to be that way for Dennis Rodman. He got picked from the Nets to the Bulls, and he got to go on. Hold on a second. Hold on. Dang, this thing getting good too. I had to go make my adjustment. So let's talk about it. Okay. Yeah, so Jack Haley got brought over from the Nets to be a chaperone for Rodman. This ain't nothing new. That's why I didn't touch about the chaperone kid to LeBron because all of them have chaperones. He was until he got hired by ESPN, and it basically he became like the Boondocks for ESPN. He was once upon a time, but you gotta remember something. They've always been watching what's going on either in Slam magazine or what's going on in the streets. They get these cats, they give them a little gig, they give them a little texturizer, they give them a little TV time. They had him on there. He was on there. He was up there with Rachel Nichols. They ain't that too bad because they get on that network. They ain't that too. They're not that too good not to get on there. Now you show me someone who refuses to go on there that's got a platform, then I'll say yeah they too black. They stay on there. They get them when they need them. They pay them a couple of dollars. Because if Cam can go on there, they all go on there. Believe me, they looking to recruit because that's the only people that sell the agenda. She can't. She ain't gonna mess with the stiffies because if she wants to talk real hoops, she's got to go to the brothers. And in case you don't know, the white cats ain't messing with her too tough. said, what do I know? And it's kind of strange too because her stepmother-in-law is whatchamacallit. Her father was a director, and her stepmother is the one that interviewed Michael Jackson, Lisa Marie. What's her name on ABC? Can't think of her. But anyway, that's how she got hooked up. Well, she may as well be. Well, she is, but she ain't. She is and she ain't. She does it for business. But Diane Sawyer, that's who it is. Diane Sawyer is her, because her pops is Mike Nichols. So Diane Sawyer is her. They like her for money. It's a strange way of saying this. They don't like how she pride, but they respect her enough to keep her on TV to give her a check. She ain't gonna ever get ran off. That is not going to happen. But anyway, back to Wendy. Yeah, Wendy could be a real problem if LeBron don't. That's the only thing is that Wendy, because he could use Wendy not being a chick magnet against him. That's how he could counter him. But anyway, other than that though, it could get really ugly there too. Cats got to be careful because there's a lot of weight goes back, and cats know. But LeBron don't like it because it's the facts. He still think he's 25, but he can't run it like he used to. He can't run it. And the thing about it is the sad part for him is that, yeah, well, probably did, and it may be true. But guess what? Wendy is winning right now. LeBron's not, because the league tries everything for LeBron. They got him out here gonna try to get Steve Nash a job, pushing JJ Redick on, got the whole thing with Luca, got rid of Anthony Davis. And then you got rid of a broken down parts for a fat boy who likes to eat po' boys and drink brew and mess up his games. Oh yeah, Wendy living his best life. And you gotta remember something, cats like Shackle talk. So Wendy Wendy could write a tell all book that could blow the league up if he wanted to. He won't though. Because they keep him fed 5 stars and all the food and buffet you can eat. And traveling to France. Come on now. Living his best life. I watch him. See, when everything was going good with him and LeBron wouldn't say nothing. And that's how everyone's got a sponsor. Think about it. You got White Cat's been riding on LeBron for like 25 years. That should tell you how the ESPN plan how that works. I be trying to tell you symbolism right there before your eyes. That's symbolism right there. I'm just gonna tell it. I think it'll be interesting because I think that ESPN, it's gonna be one way or the other. Or either that or they're trying to set them up to fail. They're either trying to set them up to fail, so they'll go one or two ways. He says stuff because he really is all over the place because he doesn't have anybody yin and yang. That's why he's all about that LeBron Jordan nonsense. And with Shannon Sharp, he brought that in because that made him look good from the company bosses. Oh, I didn't stutter. So if you read what they said, they're gonna not necessarily be doing games. They're gonna be like in between, that's doing takes. So what kind of format will they have? It could be a set to fail, so they flop because they'll pay them to almost go away. So you're not going to necessarily get them the way they were with him, Ernie, get all of them together to cover a whole late after games and the city ESPN and do those takes. So now you got NBC back with Jordan, which is competition. You got in those games and all that. So how they gonna feel that? How they gonna connect? Now, if they can, this is why I don't trust the Jordan thing because he's not going to be he's not going to say anything that's going to be so. The problem with the Jordan uh, holics, they think somehow he gonna save something. He's not gonna upset the card. He can't because the only way he could upset the card and flip it is if he could come back and play. All somebody got to do is just clown him as an owner and clown him as an overseer talent as far as putting a team together, what he did in Charlotte, and that's case closed. Oh, yeah. I said it before. Oh, so you think, okay, where you at? Give me a one if you can hear me. If you still alone, let's talk because I'll get into the why I said to feel hot take. If you still alone, give me a one. If you listening, give me a one. I'll tell you why I said what I said, why it'll make sense if you still on. Or anybody that's still on, I'll tell you why I said what I said. Because I need you to give me a one if you still listening. And if you want the uncut, I'll tell you why I said what I said. I ain't stutter. Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp. How it turned out. Yes, he caught that case and all that. That those did he really catch it? Did Stephen A. Smith and did they not kind of set him up? And that's how they get you to fail. They get you high on his hog to say we gotta knock him off. Yeah, he talking about come back. His predictions look bad. Lakers in five. How'd it turn out? His thing fell off. And he was the hottest commodity going. Right now, Shannon Sharp carries more weight than Shaq, Charles, Kenny, and Ernie. Uh, in the sense that he can't connect on the audience. Shannon's personality connected. Stephen A doesn't try to connect. Stephen A is one of those guys that bougie and thinks that because he can sashay because he dresses good and he's tries to, but he hasn't really been a journalist in years. He sees Shannon Sharp. He saw what Shannon did. It's about numbers. No, he ain't. He country, Bama, but he ain't uppity. And that's what Stephen A was. But the problem was it was to fail. That's what ended up happening. But they had Shannon on the board because they said, well, you get you back in, but you just got to come over to the ESPN plantation. You go from one to another. You don't own nothing. And see, all this stuff is corporately tied together. The podcasts, those endorsements, all that. That's why Charles is acting like he's acting because he's like, I ain't going to sign that loan. He talks to Dan Patrick, good and well. White cats get out of that ESPN plantation. What think a brother going to do? And what's the brother Stan Van, the one that's from Louisiana? They let him go after 25 years. I can't even think of his last name, but you know what I'm talking about, light skinned brother Stan. They let him go. Yeah, he did that after he got ripped. That's what that was about. He wouldn't have done that though when he was in his come up days. He got called out. The only reason why he ain't in the whole cookery with Whitlock is because Whitlock makes a whole shtick out of doing that. That's all Whitlock does. Stephen A. catches himself just enough not to, but he's in the same boat. It's just that the difference is that's all Whitlock's got going for him. Even though Whitlock is more knowledgeable at what he's more knowledgeable. Stephen ain't as knowledgeable. He play like he is, but he ain't. Because from a technical standpoint, Whitlock runs circles around him. But that's what I was trying to tell you about to fail. somebody gonna get knocked off with this whole thing. And this Jordan thing, you know, and I don't feel Jordan is gonna necessarily be what they expect. Cause he doesn't have no personality. He's charismatic, but he don't have Charles Barkley's personality. He ain't. He doesn't hit you with a Shaq, quip or the way he's ever laughed at his own self. And I think that's the thing about him. You I'm not expecting much. He can't really go into saying them because if he do, he'd be called an old timer, and if he panhandles, then he's gonna upset. He's gonna give people their due, but he comes off like a. Well, I was just saying that Whitlock, as a journalist, runs circles around Stephen A. Smith. I'm talking about from a journalistic technical. He doesn't have the appeal that Stephen A's got, and there's a big difference. That's what separates the two. So Whitlock know how to articulate. He ain't gonna do that. What you think he gonna do with Paul Pierce? That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That was funny though when he had that drink with Steph Curry and he says, "You're not great, but you're good." And I laughed. I was like, "See, this is exactly why you can't have him on TV." But he's going to watch what he says about certain things. It's gonna be. Oh, the thing with Steph, yeah, that was. But, that was funny. You're good. You're not great, but you're good. I was cracking up. I said, "See, Michael Smith got his own show with brothers from a different another different him and Michael Holly. They got a show. I watched it a while back. He won't. He won't. But he'll let his agent do the talking. That's why his agent came out and said what he said. No, it's on. I thought it was still on YouTube. Him and Michael Holly. Because I saw something. They didn't last long because somehow they become considered too black, which was hilarious to me. And they got caught up in ESPN politics trying to act like they were down on the six, and it backfired. That's what happened. Hold up. That's what messed that up. Hold up. All right, let me address that. So, what you mean? What? What? What's your question? What you mean? What's your question? He was at first when he was on ESPN. He was corny, and Jamel tried to holler at him, but he turned it down. And anyway, he used to downplay racism and stuff. That's okay. That's all right. It's done on purpose. I just decided to put this up. I want that green effect, that greenhouse, environmentally conscious. But anyway, Michael Smith changed his game up. I forgot what happened, but he did. It's all good. I like it when a cat comes with some humor because I got jokes too. But anyway, I just put that for the backdrop. It's all good. It's all natural. But anyway, Michael Smith, they tried to push that on ESPN, and folks got mad. He flipped. He was corny, but he didn't tap, but he was corny. Thanks. Michael Holly was good. He was the one that was writing about Patriot Nation. I like Michael Holly. He was a good writer, but they didn't have no personality. Long story short, he was articulate, but he had no charisma. And Michael Holly was a cat that was meant to read on a microphone without the camera on, basically. So Jamel still does her stuff. She alienates some people. Some people are in between with her. Yeah, I liked Holly. He held his own. And he was talking about the Patriots. He was, you know, you know. But so I like some things he do. I respect his old hustle as what he done. Wilborn did. He did. I already told you he did. Rob Parker, aside for this LeBron being the second best player nonsense, and when he be hate on Steph Curry and some of the stuff he do, he could sometimes he act like he trying to say stuff to undermine him, his own self. Some things I like, some things I don't. I like him better with Cruz Broussard because that other cat is a jive turkey. He sucks. Can't stand that cat. Wilborn has been known to play into corporate. So you gotta remember something. You ain't gonna be but so real on these TV networks. That's why I tell you all the time. If a cat gets too real, he ain't gonna last. He's not gonna last. Okay. I'm just saying. They don't want you getting too real. You know. I liked it until they did this. They did Barry Bonds, and I left them alone because when they said he wasn't, they crowned. The problem. The thing is this: Kornheiser is good, but he act like he ain't never been with nobody black. All in his 60s and 70s, Wilburn was so enlightened. No, I'm done with PTI. I don't like PTI. I stopped messing with them because Molly is the eye candy, and Molly is also she's got some connection with something too. Somebody got her hooked up. You do the math. No, well, you gotta understand something. They act like they got morals in baseball. And he grew up loving Hank Aaron. I understand that, but no, I ain't got to do with that. Wilborn is bought and paid off too. You hear when Stephen A. said, but he's the Godfather, he's all that. How can Wilborn sit there and let Stephen A. Smith so-called edify him, but he's standing over him? How come Stephen A. Smith is bigger than Michael Wilborn? Ask yourself that question. Because Wilborn can tell you more about football in the Midwest and give you and been on TV a long time. And you mean to tell me he has to play second fiddle to Stephen A? I don't think he sucks, but I definitely think he's shuffled. He's settled. And I don't understand it. He should be running circles around Stephen A. Smith. I don't get it. But I don't. I'm tired of the whole thing with PTI. I've been done with it. Jackie Robinson. Because Jackie was a four-star letter athlete. Hank was bad, but Jackie. You gotta look up. Jackie Robinson was a football player. Look it up. Track. He was all that. Oh geez, the real is a Godfather. Whoever. Uh, well, Byron did that to himself. Byron did that to himself, though. That ain't nothing to do with that. Byron may not be getting no more TV time with those allegations out there floating. Byron had messed his own self up. As far as like I told you, Ralph Wiley was my favorite. Ralph Wiley, John Saunders, Stuart Scott, even Mike Tirico. They all run circles around Stephen A. Smith. They run circles around most of them. Those were the guys that could really drop the facts on ESPN, especially Ralph Wiley. Ralph Wiley was I was surprised he was on that network when he used to watch the sports writers because that cat was dropping jewels. Stephen A. is one of those cats that, now that just means if a white cat don't make it on ESPN, that's because he didn't offended somebody. He's trying to get his Andrew Dice Clay on. That's all that is. That's just like Rush Limbaugh and Kurt Schilling. They just did too much stupidness. That's all that was. They weren't too real. It was the stupidness that came out. I used to watch that show, Mike Lupica, Mitch Albom, and that's where Ralph Wiley, all of the old school show was tight. Even that brother, that's what that one brother who wears that earring, he was on there. Like he get ready to cry all the time. The bald head brother. He wrote a book or something. I can't think of his name right now. But Stu Scott was hip hop, bringing lyrics and stuff, and they had them folks all in a tizzy, and they used to call and complain all the time. Connecticut was getting bombarded. The old ESPN was the truth. That's back when it mattered. He sure was. He had to deal with a lot of hater rate too. A lot. But he could back it up. He could back it up. He was fun. He was down home. He was real. That's all he ever do. That's the only reason why he got that gig, because he's like the last one standing, because he figured out how to, mediocrity and snitch get you over. That's what got him over. Kid you not? That's what they. It's not always. It's about other factors involved. Went to North Carolina. They probably would have got him off the network. You notice they didn't have nobody around. Okay, I don't get. Okay, it's okay. I always hope that no one gets contaminated on those networks, but she's okay. I'm not familiar with. I seen her. I have to remember exactly what she said. I don't even have because they don't care about it. It's all about the booty. Uh, if I had to pick a Mount Rushmore ESPN anchors, hmm, and Robin Roberts probably Robin Roberts, because she was bad. She knew her stuff, and she fit in with all of them. Probably to say Robin Roberts. I have to put Robin there. I think she belonged with him. I'm not the biggest Dan Patrick fan. Linda Cohn gets a strong. You can make a case. I'm not the biggest Dan Patrick fan. Um, Linda Cohn is cool. She was cool. That's cool. Stephen A. Smith. Susie was bad. She had to tolerate Joe Namath, so she gets honorable mention. Stephen A. Smith, Whitlock. Austin Rivers. And what's that turkey used to play for the Clippers? RG3's on there too, but what's that turkey was the Clippers that was doing basketball commentary and Shaq like he wanted to knock him out? Bob Lee was good. I like his commentary. He was good. He was good. I think it's just that he kind of, Oh, I'll tell you who I would give honor was. Yeah, those two belong on there for real. Charlie Stein was one of my favorites back in the day. I like the way he used to broadcast. Charlie Stein. That's when they were more professional. Yeah. Stephen A. Whitlock, Sage Steele. Yeah. No, they're not part of ESPN. No, not at the time. No. Malika Andrews and Sage, I'd say no. Sage, yes. The reason why is because Barkley and Shaq ain't part of the ESPN. They weren't at the time, so I can't say them. But if they had to be on ESPN when that whole thing went down with Kyrie Irving, I would have said yeah. I would have said yeah. Had that went down at that time. Well, I don't pay her no mind, but she's a known hater though. Well, you gotta remember something. When they work on those networks, they only dealing with people like they're dealing with them. They're not, it's business. I'm just saying, they're not there to really what be warm and fuzzy. Carrie gets a pass because she's kind of bubbly. They don't really mess with her too much. It's low key. Again, when you work in corporate, and very seldom do people stay real. Yeah, very seldom do they stay real. Just so you know, because she wasn't there to, because she couldn't, she wasn't gonna sit there and just blow up Stephen A. Smith's horn. That's why. Shoot. Yeah, but it's not about like; it's about what's good for business. They politic, yo. Oh, I like her too. That's the first of all when he said that, I thought, wow, out of him, wow. See, when people don't know their history, they say stupid stuff. And like I like Angel Reese a lot, but I don't look at her as the Wilma Rudolph. I don't. Jenny Taft was bad. Jenny Taft, the one that got went to Skip, remember? Because he was talking about Meathead McCarthy, and she went, she cut, she defended. Now Shannon tried to hit on that. I get it. I did too, because I didn't think he had that in him. I was stunned. Yeah, but I'll say this about Joy. She don't fake who she is. And she knows a little bit. She's not a dingbat. She knows a little bit of sports. She ain't her brother. She been around in the trenches. So I ain't even tripping. She knows a little bit. She ain't just somebody that, but she also understands that hey, she's there to she's there to sell what she's got too. So she ain't faking the funk like that. She did. She did because high maintenance. When you put yourself in that kind of position, you are putting yourself there for all this typical stereotypes. You know good and well how she got what she got. I couldn't stand him, but he had a distinctive voice, but I couldn't stand him. No, you already know most of them because that's what they're built on. It's an industry that's built on touchy feely feely touchy. So it's no hidden agenda. Well, I'm telling you, most of them already done that because most of them already know. I know about ESPN. I know about Mike Tirico. I know about Chris Berman. I know about you know they know who they can go after with that. That's how Hannah Storm that whole thing. Yeah, that whole shower episode with that whole peephole thing. She got hooked up. She was blonde. She got hooked up. She married an athlete. Come on now, it's all in the mix. Tariqa was freaky deaky on that whole thing. When you work in that world, no, average brother would be more smart than a millionaire. Straight regular cat is gonna pick up on it. I think you underestimate some regular brother. Cats pick up on it. It's the millionaires who get hoodwinked because they can't trust nobody. I think PJ maybe not. Zion is different. Again, these cats is in a specialized, treated differently. They treat it differently. You can't even compare a cat that is a mule. He's a meal ticket. So when Deion Sanders had that chick talk to them Colorado players, remember? Before she got saved, she was telling them that you get tricked off because you don't assume, because you can't tell if they like me for my money or whatever I got. You get tricked off. I'm trying to tell you, the athletes get tricked off. The ones with the money gonna get tricked off worse than the average cat. The average cat, he gotta know that his mouth game is strong or he got something going on. When you in that lifestyle, you get tricked off because everything is cashed. Everything is like a charge to my account, and then you find out how much you owe. So you either owe it with your soul or you gonna owe it with your bank account. I'm telling you, millionaire ain't gonna know because a lot of them cats get chicks sent to them. They don't see it coming, and the next thing, bam. You know, he can't even play a game straight. Thank you. That turkey scored 35 points one game, and it took him six other games to get to 34. Thank you. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And he got played by old pro, and his head is gone. They don't. Look at Tiger Woods. Had 20 on standby and only two of them were worth keeping. And 12 of them things were like sloppy seconds that Popeyes after dark wouldn't see you half off. Please. That's what go on. And they all get hoodwinked and they all get caught. And that's why you have a nice friendly faced commissioner like David Stern and Adam Silver to say, it's okay. You just sign your life away. We'll make it all go away. We'll take the pain away. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what you don't see. Well, he no different than Lamar Odoms. He just got his soul. That's all. They all are, cause they sharing everybody. You ask me how I be knowing some stuff to this, cause the athletes and the entertainers all got to share the same thing. It's all the same. That Larsa Pippen was messing with Future, was messing with Jordan Russell. All it's all passed around. It's all connected. So you ain't gonna know nothing if you in that money because you just assume that I pass it on to you. They they want lifestyle, yo. He's fair game. That's what happens. That's the hardcore reality. They would treat them things like you treat a package of Skittles. That's basically what it's called too in that industry. What Skittles you got? What flavor you got? Share it all. Well, it's because there's no standards now because they trying to be like the fellas and they allow to just kind of love them and leave them. And there is no, and that's what the culture has produced in that industry. They've made a mockery of it. They've made a joke of it. That's why you can't have no Me Too movement and no cancel culture because who's canceling who and who's getting Me Too? None of them. And Cassie is actually like a that's a normal. Thank you, thank you. Especially nowadays because you ain't got no one to get excited about no way, even if you wanted to. But it's just all out there for the taking. And Cassies, there's a lot of Cassies out there. You do know if Cassie right now, she go run back to Diddy right now. That's the straight up facts. That's what you got to deal with. Ain't enough mouthwash out here to clean that off. But I'm just saying, the delusion has come to a conclusion. It used to be because now with media and all that, but the delusion has come to a conclusion. But it's not even social media. They just don't have no. They don't manufacture them like they used to. That's why I don't understand why people get excited about all these award shows and all this whackness and this. The same old race agenda. It's all fake. Ain't nothing but a booty room, and ain't nothing but booty. Cheeks for checks, booty for loot. Ain't no more big old plantation. It's about matter what you're gonna do, what you can do. That's why somebody like Trump can hustle up and get into something where he can get some on folks and then run and stuff. Because that's what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with a professionalism. You're dealing with card players. Call your bluff. See what you got in your hand. And this is what you got. He was, and then he don't, and then it backfired on him. And it took him a long time to grow up because he wasted a lot. But then he went to the Nets, and then the whole episode with his ex-wife, and then the MVP award, and he did a lot of stuff. And he's still a peculiar cat, though. I like him though as a player. He was great, but he was a peculiar cat, though. But he was running wild, though. He was hood cat. He was hood. He won't touch that though. But yeah, he got schooled the right way though. Braxton was messing with everybody. Come on now, she was a running NFL and NBA. Curtis Martin 1 minute. She was. She was looking for that sugar daddy. Jimmy Jackson. And Jimmy Jackson still got a TV gig right now. Jamal Mashburn got a business. He's doing quite well for himself. That shows you how whack the industry is, though. You got to split. You got three cats. Hairlines going crazy. You know. But Jimmy Jackson got a gig right now. Jamal does too. Yep. Now, you thinking about Madu Raul? She was in the actually she he was in one of her videos. I was way back. She may have dribbled them off for a moment, but it wasn't gonna be nothing there. Because Mary only messes with cats that break her down. She don't mess with no dude that got no money, but that's another story. He was, he got quite a bit. He got, the whole Madonna thing is what set him off. And then he just rolled from a lot. My dude was like almost a precursor to Steph, except he had wicked handles with it. He, you know, but he got ran out. He was bad. He was bad. He was good in Denver too. In fact, if Jokic had a guy like him right now, they come out the West 3 years in a row. Because my duo was a lot more consistent than Jamal Murray ever dreamed of being. I'm just saying. Just saying. Yeah, Mary J. and Jordan always aligned himself for what was ever happening. If you notice, him and R. Kelly were cool. I don't say they boy, they was cool. And Mary J. for that thing. So, but Mary J. wasn't. I don't think there was too much going on with it though. I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it because it was if it was anything, it was short term. Because Mary didn't have what we call conventional long term relationships. She was just cool with whoever was good for her bank account at the then and the now. He was very gifted because the cat wasn't, he was raw bone, strong, strong like an ox, tough. And he was the guy that he did one thing and he did it really well, and he was a mentalist. He understood the job at hand and he weigh you down by any means. She let Diddy grab her. How you think she got on, yo? That whole thing with KC. She made albums about that breakup for 50 years. How you think that got on? Now, she wasn't gonna let some clown like Ray J grab her or Cisco or somebody like that. But she got grabbed. She was all up on Tupac too. I already know. I'm not gonna get into it about Mary J, but let's just say this. And I don't even like to quote Jaguar right too much because Jaguar be kind of all over the place, especially how she be slurping for Trump and all that. But she right about Mary J. Mary J should be in that courtroom talking about what was going on. There's that picture of her out there floating around holding hands with Diddy and Cassie. She no more. Mary J be running that game. But that's another story though. But you can think what you want. There's others who can grab Mary. Mary had no money because Cass was, I'm just telling you. There's a lot going on with Mary, so we'll leave that alone. Okay. Everybody still on or we still on? Okay. I think we're just about, unless somebody comes on, I think we just about cleared. 60% says yes, Elon Musk. That's a good poll right there. That's a real good poll. All right. I'll give it a couple of minutes. If anybody else don't come through, I think we'll call it a day. back on tomorrow. Okay. I think on that note, we just about called it there. It was on for 2 plus. Had some good commentary. Appreciate everybody that came through. If anybody want to come on, let me know. But it looks like everybody kind of called it a day so far. So I'm gonna give it another minute because I see two heads just popped up. Okay. All right, now I think we'll call it a deal. All right, appreciate it when it came through. Thanks for the comments, the polls. We had an interesting foray today. I will be back tomorrow. The weather's good, permittable. I'll come back on. I'm not gonna be on for as long tomorrow, but I'll be on tomorrow. All right, peace up, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Peace.